Hey guys, in this video, I'll be covering how I made my mentorship students over $50,000 cumulatively in the past week, so July 20th to July 24th. Starting off with Cactus, he got a pretty good payout this week. Jay, he made some pretty good money this week to pay off, the mentorship, like the call outs. Vish has pretty good capital, but he made $10,000 this week from the call outs. Edward made decent money. Vish has another good trade. Med, he made good money as well. And overall, like not all the student results are posted here. A lot of people are like more nonchalant. They don't post their stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna be going over like what I gave this week. All right, so starting off on the 20th, this was Monday. I wanted you guys to pay attention to the levels I give in these messages because every time I give a daily bias, okay, for example, I'm PST, so this is like right before the market opens. I give two levels and I give my overall like thesis, like I'm bullish, bearish, or neutral. If I'm neutral, I still give two levels, one on buy side and one on sell side. So one above price and one below price. Basically, they're my best levels for the day at that time, and I expect there to be either acceptance or rejection at the level. And regarding whatever happens, this is how you trade the levels. Keep in mind, this is an order flow mentorship based on auction concepts and options flow. We don't trade price action, so you will learn how to read the tape, how to read the DOM, and how to read a footprint. So you guys can easily see if buyers or sellers are accepting or actually rejecting a level. And I want you to pay attention once more to the levels I give because this is what I'm going to be showing you guys. So first of all, for Monday, I was overall neutral, but I was kind of expecting, you can kind of see, a bearish scenario where we have a bullish manipulation on open, we resweep 110, and then but this was only part of it. Also, I said if you expand higher, buyers can accept above 29,100. It's likely we make a new high of day and we have expansion, but only another 100 points to the day's overall range on buy side. What does this mean? This means, Asia, because, the day is split up in three parts. There's Asia, London, and New York. So for Asia and London, I didn't expect the range for New York to expand more than 100 points on buy side. This is Monday, July 20th. Let's see what happened. So once again, this is the range from Asia to London. Market open right there. You can see by like the different color. You can kind of see we had the bullish manipulation to buy side. 29,100. We accepted, we broke past the level. As such, I was expecting the day to expand at least around at most 100 points above this range. This is the top of the Asia and London range. Let's see, I said 100 points max. We went up 83.5 points. So that was pretty spot on if you ask me. So that was the first like part of the thesis. Next, I said, overall for the day, I expected the day to stay more in a mean reverted range than significantly expand. And what happened? You can kind of see the mean reversion came into play like right after the market opened. And you can see we mean reverted for the whole day basically. So if you had my thesis, you would understand that you wouldn't be chasing breakouts. You'd be trying to like, trade false breakouts back into the range. But also another key point I made is, keep in mind, look at right here, 940 and 950. Remember this level. Basically, I had this level as a very strong support level. If this level breaks, we probably will trade lower for the rest of the day. Now, if the level holds, we probably get a rejection. So let's see what happens. We can see we got a rejection right at 940. And I'm pretty sure some people did take longs off this. This was right here. So you can see it right at 940, almost to the tick. It went up like 60 points. Nothing too crazy. But you can see we started accepting at 940, 950 after. And yeah, we do mean revert, but guess what happens? The day traded lower overall because after we accepted at 940, 950, this was a level that if, sellers could, hold below, that I would expect the day to like trade lower. Keep in mind, I told you guys if 910 accepts on buy side, 100 accepts on buy side, I would expect price to go higher, but not over 100 points. That's a key difference in the nuance of the bias for this day. And you can see it was basically the whole day almost. In terms of the prediction. Now, for Tuesday, this was a day where we had a lot of inventory on buy side, and I was expecting a possible liquidation setup, but we can kind of see, keep in mind, remember the levels again I give. So if sellers can comfortably auction at 0.95 or lower, I was expecting the day to probably continue lower. But I also had 185 as a strong level of resistance. And I wanted to hold if sellers are going to push the market lower. When you kind of see what happens, remember, these levels are my strongest levels for the day, pretty much. They either probably will get rejected, aka respected, or if we have acceptance, the level is probably going to break and we're going to, dump or pump however many points I say. You kind of see right after, remember, I'm PST, the market opens at 6:30 my time. 19 minutes later after the market opens, look at that, rejection right at 0.95. And then 185, same exact thing. You could have ping ponged this. The market tried to trade higher, but sellers stepped in right at 185. Look, 185. This is not edited. Like, we can kind of look at the charts too at Tuesday. What were the levels again? 185 and 0.95? Let's zoom in. Where was 0.95? Yeah, you can see we like rejected right at 0.95. We went higher. What do you reject? 185. You're going to ping pong this whole move basically. Right? You can kind of see how this played out. And then also, I gave some more analysis in the intraday analysis channel. I'll be going over that after I finish with a daily bias. All right, so on Wednesday, I was bullish for the market. And now I want you guys to remember the levels. Once again, I give two levels, one on buy side, one on sell side. On this day, my level was 175 on buy side. And on sell side, it was 29,000. Remember these levels. And see what I said. I said, to confirm my bullish bias, I would want buyers to hold prices above 175. And I said, if this happens, we will cause a fast, long squeeze to the upside. A squeeze is basically when we have like a Diddy candle, a fast move up based on the other side basically getting absorbed. Or like, because keep in mind, if you have aggressive sellers trying to push the market lower and they get trapped, they can't push the market lower and they start tapering, and then buyers step in, the seller stops, turn into fuel for the move up for the buyers, because the tape transitions from a two-sided tape with buyers and sellers auctioning into a one-sided tape with sellers turning to buyers. Look what happened right at 175. This happened a half an hour later. 175, you can see, right when price accepted at 175, we had a squeeze up. We retested it, another squeeze right at 175. And remember, I was bullish on this day. And then here, basically, I gave some analysis on the macro. The macro on this day was very, very mixed. So I was telling people, like, be very careful in the market today. We can see, like, all the, like, different, cross assets, like yields, treasuries. You guys will learn this in the mentorship. Don't worry about it now. But that's some analysis. And as you can see, the day was pretty bullish. We traded higher at open and for the next couple hours. Now, for Thursday, yeah, this is Thursday. Once again, remember the levels I give. These levels almost always work. I expected a manipulation at open, and for the levels, we have 805 to 810 on buy side, and on sell side, we have 655. Remember 655, guys. Manipulation, 655. Let's take a look. Oh no, that's Wednesday. Okay, so on Thursday, let's see what happens at open. What happened here? The market, we traded lower. Look where we rejected off of. We manipulated lower. As I said, I said we'd manipulate. Look at the level. We basically bottom ticked at 655. The level got edged by like a few ticks, but you can see 655 got respected. I said I want sellers to be able to auction there and find acceptance, not rejection. If price rejects the level, guess what's going to happen? It's a strong support level. All my levels are strong support or resistance levels. If they break, hence if price can accept there and we break it, we're probably going to dump. But if we respect the level, you guys know what's going to happen. We're probably going to trade in the other direction because the market hit a strong support level. And you can see what happened. We manipulated higher. And now I want you guys to remember what else I said. I said if the market starts accepting at 805 to 810 and buyers can hold prices above here, we could get a small squeeze up. Keep in mind, small. I did not say we'll be bullish. I said a small squeeze, a small scalp basically. And I would expect price to trade a little higher and then start mean reverting. Remember this bias. 805 to 810. Where is 805 and 810? Right here. You can kind of see when price hits 805 and 810, we see resistance. We see this like down candle. Price was struggling to get past 805 to 810. It was a strong resistance level. But guess what? We accepted here. And guess what happened after? We had a little move up as I told you guys in the server. the students, like all these call outs were in a few days, and you can see I'm not lying. The messages are sent. You see the timestamps before the market opens. There is no lying. And obviously, if I made multiple messages and I deleted them, the students would think I'm like a LARP. And obviously, the students are not saying that. So, and then also there's some other things too. Like I said, small squeeze up. What does it look familiar? This is exactly what happened. I called out this 2 minutes before the market opened. Manipulation right at 6:55. How surprising. And then also, I gave some more analysis in the analysis channel, but I'll be going over that after I finish with Friday. So Friday, this was today, this morning. So this morning, once again, I want you guys to remember the levels. 500. If sellers can hold the market below 500 on NQ, we likely expand a couple hundred points to the downside. What does this mean? This means if price rejects it on 500, we probably get move in another direction. Let's see what happens. Once again, my level, I gave 2 levels before the market opens. Okay, we can see we went lower. Where did we respect? Where did the market respect? Wow, why at 500? How surprising. It bottom ticked too. 500 bottom ticked NQ on the move down, and it went, I believe, yeah, like 120 points up. And then keep in mind, what else I said? I said right after Natsumoto wave, if 500 accepts, the market will dump 200 to 300 points if the price accepts here and breaks the level. Let's see what happens. You can see we respected at open, but after you can see we start accepting at the level, and then we retest the level here. And then guess what happened? I said if price accepts the level and can hold under the level, we're probably going to dump 200 to 300 points. Remember, 200 to 300 points. I said 200 to 300 points. And I'll be covering the chat. I'll be going over the chat as well once I finish intraday analysis. Like what happened? Let's see how far price went down after 500. Wow, 245 points, right in the middle of 200 to 300. Is that not spot on? I feel like that's like the most accurate you can get, kind of. And then after, well, we just like, rest of the day. But I had some more callouts I gave on this day. I'm going to be showing you guys the intraday analysis. So let's go first. Let's go to the 20th. Let's go to Monday. And let's see what I called out this week in terms of intraday analysis. All right, so the day opens. This was my bias. I basically showed 940 and respected. I already showed this to you guys earlier, so I'll just skip over this. And now here, I give a lot of scalping analysis, a lot of different analysis. I'm not going to go over all these alone. Like, I'm not going to look on the charts and show you guys all this stuff because that would take forever. But you guys can see right here, I basically made a little image showing all this stuff happening and coming into fruition in the market. Like all these scalps, all this analysis happened, and you guys can take a picture. You guys can look back at it yourself if you want to. Once again, the timestamps, nothing's edited. All this stuff is analysis. I'm giving it right as I see it myself, and then for the most part, it happens. That's how the students make so much money off the analysis. And once again, we have the bias. You guys can read that if you want to. Okay, this day, this was Tuesday, guys. 17 minutes after the market opened, I said I have 710 to 711 QQQ being a massive swing point, possibly high of day. I want you guys to remember this level, 710 QQQ. I want you guys to remember this. And then once again, this was basically, I showed you guys this earlier in the daily bias section. Yeah, once again, this is from daily bias. And then here, you can see, I was doing some more analysis. If you guys want to read this, you can. It's very helpful. And then some more analysis if you guys want to read it. But guys, let's see what happened. This was a high of day on Tuesday. Look what happened. 710 QQ top ticked the QQ. And obviously QQ and NASDAQ are similar assets. QQ is the ETF of the NASDAQ 100. And obviously NQ is the derivative, the futures. You can sell contracts and buy contracts on it, right? So you can see the bias was cooking, and this level got high of day. You don't believe me? Let's take a look on Tuesday on QQQ. All right, this was Tuesday. And by the way, guys, this was high of week as well. This was the high of the week. Let's take a look. Where do we make high of week? The high of the day on Tuesday. Wow, right at 710 QQ. I predicted this 17 minutes after the market opened. And guess what? This happened at like 11 o'clock, like 5 hours after I called it out. 710, like top tick basically. I'm pretty sure some people banked on that level as well. Now, once again, this was from the bias. This was another little scalp I gave in the chat. Basically, I said, you don't see much from this, but I said we were at a level where if sellers can break the level, we're probably going to dump. So if we want to remain bullish, we need buyers to step in. And 30 seconds after, we had aggressive buyers stepping in, and that worked out. I think some people scalped that. Once again, guys, this mentorship is order flow, AMT, and options. You guys aren't trading candlestick patterns. Like, you will see the order flow confirmation at the levels, and it'll be way easier to enter on than if you trade like inverse fair value gaps, because that's probably not going to work. And this is some more analysis I give. I'm not going to go over everything, but you guys can take a picture and you guys can like look at this stuff. I give a lot of like useful insights to how you guys can view the markets. Like every day in the chat, I always explain like what I'm looking at, what I want to see, and I'll be showing you guys this after I finish with this stuff. All right, let's take a look at here. Let's take a look right here. So this was what was it, 23rd? This was Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday. We can see I said at 7:56. Let's take a look. Thursday at 7:56. 7:56. What was happening at Thursday at 7:56? Okay, we were right here. At 7:56 on Thursday, we made this small manipulation higher. We started manipulating higher, and I know some people told me this was going to be low of day. I did not think this was going to be low of day. 7:56, I did not think this was going to be low of day. So I said, I think we have a lot of volume underneath price, and I can see price grinding down more. If I get a low of day level, I'll let you guys know at 7:56. And guys, I did edit this message because I made a typo, but you can see I edited the message at the same time I sent it, like 20 seconds after. I didn't edit this like, an hour later trying to LARP. You can see 7:56. And as predicted, we went lower. We went 200 points lower on that. And then this was Friday. Once again, if 500 accepts, the market will dump 200, 300 points. And I gave some call outs. But I'm going to be going over them in the chat because this is where I gave the call outs. All right, so if you go, oh shit. Let's go to the very top. Yeah, you can see he was talking about 500. If you guys remember, 500 was a level I had and got respected. And then, all right, so this is where I said, if 500 accepts, the market will dump 200 to 300 points. Let's go back to NQ real quick on Friday. So at 6:58 or 6:38, I mean, the market was right here. So right here, I said if price accepts at 500, we're going to dump 200 to 300 points. And you guys already saw it earlier. We went down 200 to 300 points. So basically, I told them basically to short this, right? Because like if I told the market's going to dump if this happens, that means short, right? Does that not mean short? So, and oh yeah, also at 6:43, at 6:41, he asked me, what do you think, Winter? What do you think's going to happen? 6:41, where is price at 6:41? Right here. So the market was trading lower. So Med was asking me, what do you think's going to happen? Do you think the market's going to go lower, or do you think we're going to go higher? I told him, I think we could retest 500. At 6:43, 2 minutes after, I said retest 500. 6:43, we're right here. Guess what happened the next candle at 6:44? We retested 500 to the tick. You guys can see to the tick. And then we retested it again. Basically almost like it went 10 points higher, but still. So basically I said we retest 500 and then we probably go lower. And guess what happened? We went lower 200, 300 points as predicted. And also guys, because I gave a short call out, we need to take profit, right? So let's see where I call it take profit at. Yeah, so I was telling them hold the trade, right? Hold the shit. And then I said, they were kind of asking me, like, where did I TP? He said he's going to TP at 300. I told him no. TP at 685 QQ, I think we get a rejection off of it. And obviously, Eurus is kind of like, because he trusts my levels. He's made, like, I think 20 grand taking my signals and calls in the past couple weeks. Let's see what happens at 685 QQ. Keep on the time. 6:53 a.m. 6:53 a.m. Let's take a look at the QQ at 6:53 a.m. All right, right here. So 6:53 is right here. We're at like 6:56 QQQ. And I said 685 QQQ, we're going to get a pullback. We're going to reject at this price. Take profit at 685 QQQ. What happened at 685 QQ? This bottom tick, this whole level basically. At 685 QQ, we had a pullback of over 3 points. $3 is over 120 NQ points. So if I didn't call this out and they held this trade, they would have gotten stopped out. It would have went 120 points back up. I told them to take profit right here at the very low, basically. At the very low, take profit. And obviously, and some of them actually took longs off this and they made money on this long. You kind of see, yeah, obviously this guy kind of like, he knows what's up. And then, yeah, we will get a pullback at 685, 654. Like right here, I told them at 685, we will get this pullback. Like how much more clear can I be? And yeah, they exited as instructed and they made the right decision. And then hold on, Discord's being retarded. Yeah, you can see he took a long off this. You can kind of see this right at 685 QQ. And then you guys can see I also said now where is it? If price accepts now 685 QQ, if price goes lower and we accept at the level, we probably will get a short squeeze down. So this was another trade call I gave to my server. Right? And then yeah, you can see some more glaze, but and I gave a lot of analysis. I told them this might be low of day if some things happened. What would happen? What needs to happen? I said if we retest 380 to 400 and its level holds, so buyers can keep price above this level, I believe, we're going to trade higher. This might be low of day. And I also said we had the daily VWAP. Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, but you can kind of see the daily VWAP. If price can reject at this level, I believe it's going to be low of day. But you can see sellers poked lower. We're back at 380 and 400. We're accepting at this level. Now I told them I'm bearish once again because buyers, they should have been able to prevent sellers from auctioning back in this range if they fully had control of the market, and that would have been low of day. But no, this didn't happen. So I was saying the more bearish I become once again. And I said, remember, if price accepts at 685 QQ, we're probably going to get another short squeeze to the downside. So what happens? Let's take a look. 685. You can kind of see right here, we didn't really accept at the level, we kind of rejected 685 QQ. You kind of see right here, we rejected it. But here, this is where we accept that 685 QQQ. You probably ask me, what is acceptance and rejection? Acceptance is basically accumulation. Rejection is basically a wick. You can see buyers and sellers sort of accepting 685 QQQ as fair value. What happened after? I said if this happens, we're going to get a short squeeze. What is this candle? This was a short squeeze to the downside. And I think some more students caught this trade as well. So that was another trade with another dollar of QQQ. This was like 50 points on NQ. So I gave some more cards too, but this was basically what I had for this week. Make sure I stay tuned for next week.